Hello guys, welcome back to Angan Tarot channel. And today we will also do another pick a card reading. But this question is very interesting. It's also regards to love, but it's kind of long-term, far away kind of question, just for fun. So the question today would be, who would be your husband, or who would you get married with? Uh, in front of me there would be four different piles, and based on the different rings that it may be make it easier for you to choose which ring or which pile calls you the most. So I have to say one thing in this kind of reading is I will describe the personalities of the person and maybe the first impression that you can meet them, and your marriage life, but just like in a general way, because this is a general reading. So the purpose of this kind of reading is for fun, and maybe also make you hope about the future, that maybe you can marry to a nice guy, and maybe to satisfy your curiosity about having a husband, or what type of husband. You can dig deep into your own personality and your own desires to really know that what type of husband that you really want to spend your life with. So it this reading doesn't make for you to keeping thinking obsessively thinking about how to meet this person, or when to meet this person, and whether or not this person can meet you in any time soon. So that is against this kind of intentions of this kind of reading. So just take it very lightly, have fun, satisfy your curiosity, and we're moving on. So in front of me there are four piles, and for pile number one I have this kind of, oh, these are all fake rings, so don't mention about it. uh this is the gold ring, very simple, but also the sculpting in this ring is very kind of interesting. Yeah. And this is the second ring, which has the kind of sculpting like a aim target in a gun, in a shotgun. That's why I really like those kind of things. It's like symbolize of something to remind me of always keep moving on to get my target without losing any sight. And this is looking like a shield for me, but kind of like a spiritual shield. It's really complex and beautiful. And the last one looking very cute with the small blue stone in the middle. Okay, just take your time, take whatever time you need. You can pause the video now and choose the pile that calls you the most, and I'll see you in the next session of the reading. Hello pile number one, for who of you chose this golden ring? Simple, but the sculpting is very complex. Here's your reading. So first of all, I will see the first impression that you have with him. What what is your first impression about him? Is Ace of Wands and Justice, which is talking about the first time when you meet him or her. No matter what the gender, you can thinking about how it resonates with you. Ace of Wands and Justice. So he's a kind of uh, very decisive, very active, and always fair game, always fairly, and always taking charge of everything, but without dominating the others. So he kind of like your boss or your big brother. Is like your big friend, your big and maybe a little bit older than you, more mature than you a little bit, and always try to treat people very fairly, very balanced. And yeah, it's like always make everything in a logical sense, have to be perfect. He's not gonna put a lot of emotional in what he's doing, but logical and kind of based on rules, based on laws. That's why justice is there. So the more you get to know him, you can find out these are his best personalities. So the divine child or the Hierophant in the traditional tarot, and the illusionist, which is the Knight of Stones in the Knight of Pentacles in the traditional ones. So his best traits, the more you find out about him, his best traits is he's really caring, but as a caring of a father to the child, to the children, rather than rather than just a normal friendly caring. He's really care. When he's really care about something or someone, he really dips into the details and just try to find a solution to bring the happiest, the most beneficial, or the best solution, the best outcome for the situation or the person. And he's very practical, very materialistic, and he's very down to earth. There's no kind of dreamy guy over here. Yep, that are his best personalities. So about his worst personality is Six of Wands and Three of Pentacles. Yeah, but sometimes when in a corporation of people, sometimes he gets driven away because he's so practical. When he gets driven away, he's kind of want to win over people. He always really focus on winning. As long as it's the truth and it's right, it makes sense, he's going all the way to fight for it. Sometimes he gets carried away and not thinking about the relationship or the connection or the feelings of the other person. He just want to win and just want to make the other person to realize what is right, what is wrong, like in the core definition. But as you know, in some kind of relationships like friendship, love relationship, or close relative relationship, winning is not everything, and winning sometimes can sabotage the relationships, which is like most of everyone do not want to do that. It's the relationship that matters, not who gets the right thing, who gets the wrong thing, who is right, who is wrong, who is the winner, who is the loser. But as long as we remain in a relationship and respect the opinions of each other, not try to win over the others. Maybe he's a really good in cooperate in the workplace, in his life, but to cooperate regards to the close relationships like lover, family, friends, maybe he's not that good. He's always accidentally hurt someone's feelings because of his straightforward and winning over attitude kind of mindset. Yeah. And we would see like what kind of husband, what type of husband that would he be when he get married with you. You have love, or the lovers in the traditional tarot, and Page of Fire. So obviously he's very loving and caring about you, but in a kind of, because this is Page of Fire, so this is in a kind of not so much mature way. Maybe he's a practical, down to earth person. He's very materialistic, but in the way that he expresses his love, somehow he wants to be interesting. He wants to do something much. For example, just giving you the 10 dozens of roses, like right in front of everyone in your company. And if you are the type of girl who is fine with that, so just go for it. Because that's how he tries to show his love to you, to make you like the happiest girl among the crowd, the public. I think he really likes something public, not so much private. It's like doing a flash mob, propose you in front of the crowd, and just try to brag you in front of people. I really think he has a moon or a Venus in Leo, and maybe he has because justice is here. I really think that he has an ascendant or sun sign Libra, and Venus or moon maybe in Leo, because he really has a tendency to brag about his love and make the public to witness his love showing kind of gestures, and because of the attitude of trying to winning over people also. Yep. And what kind of behaviors or attitudes that he willing to give to your families, or maybe if you guys planning to have kids, what type of father of dad that he would become. So strength and three of pentacles. So if you guys are planning to have kids, he's gonna be the idol, the kind of role model for his son or his daughter to look up to. He's trying his children would be the best motivation that make him to be a better person. And whenever his children has some kind of issues, he's always there for them to be their friends and cooperate with them into kind of find a solutions for all the problems that they may occur. He's the type of dad that can help the kids to do the homework with the kids, but of course he's not gonna do for them, but he's just helping, like helping them to understand the knowledge, and then let them to do the homework in their own self. He's a kind of father who tries to teach his children to be independent and become the strongest people when they grow up. Okay, we will look into what is your marriage life is gonna be. Codependency. Oh, this is have like 50-50 good and bad news. 50% good news is you guys cannot live with without each other. It's like you always have a tendency to miss each other whenever the other person goes somewhere else, because you are very kind of familiar and get along with the other person vibe, and the other person like assistance. It can make you calm, make you peaceful, make you feel like everything is okay, and you just cannot live without that kind of vibe. But the bad thing is it also create a codependency, which is sometimes not healthy in a relationship. You really have to need the other person to appear in order to function well, or else everything would be terribly freaked up somehow. You will feel like something missing, and you just can't focus and cannot pay attention to do everything at its best performance. So really need to look out for that. I have here is the goddess Epona, wise leadership, in your support to give you an advice about your marriage life. If you feel afraid of making a mistake or worry that you will somehow compromise yourself or disappoint someone else, consider this time to regroup and assess the details. As the goddess Epona knows, not all paths are meant to be explored, not all battles are meant to be fought, and not all opportunities will pan out. Beware of the tendency to overreach. You have come a long way, and the best leader knows when to take a break. So please, it sounds like he's a really leader of the family, and maybe you also have a kind of leader in your spirit, but just try to like compromise with him in order to there can be only one leader in the house, and if there is a kind of clash about the power, it's not gonna be a good thing for the home building things. So just try to compromise with each other. Try to solve every problems with kind of straightforward communication rather than forcing the other person to follow your words, or if he forced you to follow his words without any kind of logical sense. Just beware of that and just like straightforward communicate with him what you really think about this situation, and you really don't agree with that. Just honesty, sincerity, truthfully kind of communication, and your marriage life would be fine. So I really hope that you enjoy this reading, and if you want to be more in depth about this reading, you can contact me with the information in the description. But for now, I hope you're doing well, and if you want to be to continue reading more, like watching more readings, pick a card reading about this kind of topics, don't hesitate to subscribe me and like this video if you really like it and if it resonates to you. But for now, I'll see you in the next reading. Bye bye. Hello, pile number 2. For who of you who chose this target ring, that's how I call it. Here's your reading. So I have a bunch of cards right here, and each of the cards like can build up as a details to fulfill your stories. First of all is the first impression that you will have for him is the King of Swords and the Emperor. So the first time when you meet him, you really think that he is a kind of dominator, like he's kind of a control freak and try to take everything in under his control, and he's very intelligent, but he's also a little bit demanding, bossy, and maybe you will meet him at work. Maybe your boss or maybe your group leader, your co-worker somehow, but he seems like have better knowledge than you, higher position than you, and maybe a little bit older than you also. King of Swords and the Emperor. King of Swords, like sun sign or ascendant can be the air sign. So air sign is Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. I really think this is Aquarius. And the Emperor always talking about Aries. So Aries or Aquarius, sun sign is like most resonate to the people in this pile. Now, the more you get to know him, you will figure out his best personalities, which is Seven of Spirals and Gaia, the Empress. The more you get to know him, you will realize that he's a very, maybe he's bossy, he's kind of dominator, but it has a reason, because each sentence, each word that he told you is never gonna be a bragger. It's always built up by some foundation, by some logical sense, by some experiences, evidences, and it makes you feel very stable and trustworthy into his words, because it's not like some empty sentences that he's just bragging out, but he's also thoughtful about it before he said it. So every decision he made, you can be trusted that he has considered the risk and the opportunity in order to make this kind of decision. And actually he's a very kind of sensitive people, sensitive in the definition of really knowing what the others feeling after he said something or after he did something. He's really taking care of other people's emotion, and that's why he sometimes chose to be an emperor or a king of swords, because maybe I really think that he's really often have to deal with the people who are weaker than him, who really needs a kind of leader to lead the right path in order to show them the right path to follow, to prevent them to be like a bunch of lost sheeps. Yeah, but come along with that is his best or worst personalities, which is Eight of Swords and Six of Swords. So, but of course, every leader, every boss has sometimes challenged themselves to be in a situation that they really do not know what to do. It's out of their reach, out of their control. When he feels like he cannot control over a situation, he feels very powerless. He feels stuck, and he really cannot like just stuck there. He really doesn't know how to figure out the way, and his mind being collapsed, and he's frustrated, and everything is just stay the same. Nothing ever gets solved. And when there's a conflict, a confrontation, that he feels like he doesn't have any legit answers to be dealt with, or any like optimized solutions, best solutions to come up with, he he had a tendency not to face it directly, but he really needs some time to just avoid it for a little bit, like to ease his mind, uh, and to come up with the better solutions. These kind of traits sometimes are very good, but sometimes the situation need to be faced, not to be run away. And he has a very high tendency to run away from the conflict. Maybe in love relationships or in close relationships, he really doesn't want to have any argument or conflict with anyone. But the core reason of having the argument, discussion, or conflict with someone is to get to know them better. And if he's really not gonna straightforward communicate, or he tries to run away, it does not solve the problem, but on the contrary, it makes the problem getting worse and never gets solved. So, what kind of husband would he be when he's already married with you? Messenger of fire and transformation. So, as I know, when he gets married with you, he would be a completely uh, developed to a new person. It's like he's willingly to do everything to provide for the family, to show his love for you, and wherever the conflict, the argument that you and him might address in the past, he tried to solve every kind of problem in order to make the perfect, the best husband that you ever had, or anyone ever had. He wants to give you the best and willingly to do anything for you. So congratulations, you have a really dedicated kind of fiance or husband. Uh, what would he become if he's what type of father that he would become? Or if you guys do not planning to have children, how will he treat to your relatives or your family or your friends? So in this case, if you're planning on having kids, I really think that he really afraid that he can teach the kids wrongly, and the kids may and the children may be coming up to become worse people or bad people. He's really afraid that he would do something wrong with them to make them grow up to become not a good, or he's just afraid that his method of teaching children would be wrong, and the results not come out like what he wanted. And it seems like he really doesn't know how to talk or communicate or get connected with the kids, because there would always be a big conflict between them. It's like they cannot get along with each other. And this is also resonates if you guys are not having a plan on having children. You like maybe before marriage, even your parents or your friends really don't like him to be your husband, and it's like they always have a kind of conflict when talking with each other. Yeah. What kind of marriage life would it be after marrying this person? Chemistry. So you and him are like, I really feel like you are his kind of biggest supporter. You guys have really good chemistries with each other and just make each other feel special. And no matter what you guys do to each other, you guys just cannot stop thinking about other person, about the special connection that you two have. Yeah, it sounds very good. Without chemistry, you wouldn't feel interesting or special to the other person. And the fire of marriage may be getting colder because of that. So I have here for you is Hera. So you're in the support from the marriage goddess of the Greek mythology. She's the goddess of marriage, wife, jealousy, and she's also the wife of Zeus. So I have to read the message of her for you in this kind of situation. Stand tall and choose collaborative partnerships with deep mutual respect and encouragement. Don't chase what's popular or who will make you look good. That won't last. Look for equality and see yourself as worthy. Ask yourself, who would I be without this dynamic person or situation? Your alignment task is to open your eyes and choose another way. Belong to yourself and align with the great goddess pulsing through your heart. And the whole world, she is the one with the real power. So I really think that this situation she's talking about is about your family, all your friends will object the fact that you want to marry this guy, but maybe they convince you to marry a rich person or a more successful one, but only you know what's best for you. And if this guy is your soulmate, maybe he's not that rich, he's not that successful yet, but as long as you guys have a special connection, mutual respect, mutual feelings with each other, and he makes you happy, so only you knows what's best for you, a collaborative partnership. So just follow your heart. Of course it has to be added your head also, but just follow your heart. And whatever the families or the friends advise to you, always remember you are the one who knows what's best for you. So don't be worried about it and just stay with your decision. Okay, thank you. Part number 2. If you want to have a more in-depth and private reading with me in regards to this question, everything you need to contact me is in the description. And don't forget, if you want to see more of these pick a card readings, don't hesitate to subscribe me and also like this video if you find it very interesting. But for now, I will see you in the next reading. Bye bye. Hello, part number 3. So if you chose this beautiful kind of flower shield ring, here's the reading for you. So I have a lot of cards here, and we will dig deep into each element that can build up to your story about the question, who would you marry? Well, the first impression that you have about him is Ten of Swords and Knight of Wands. So maybe the first impression when you and him meet with each other is you see this is the man who has been through thick and thin, has a lot of experiences, also a bad kind of experience in life, and that's why he seems a little bit not so much optimistic, but rather I wouldn't say pessimistic, but a little bit. But it's also he's very kind of anxious about most of the things. He is a very careful person, and before each decision he has to look deep in the details to make his own decision, because he does not want to take risk. This is not a risky person because he doesn't want to be hurt anymore. He's very protective about his feelings, and if he loves someone, he's also protective about them also. So this guy can be fire sign or air sign. Air sign: Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. I really think this is Gemini if he's an air sign. And fire sign: Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. I really think this is a Sagittarius if he's a fire sign. But again, signs doesn't matter too much, so just take it very lightly. And the more you get to know him, you'll find his best personalities. So his best personalities is 5 of spirals and 2 of stones. So as I said, he's a very kind of careful person, and as long as it's not gonna harm him, uh, be, to prevent the thing or the people that will harm him before making into a decision or get involved in with someone. He's very kind of argumentative, uh, to make something clearly that these things would not harm him, or kind of make him trust you more, make him trust the situation more. He is not afraid to stand up for himself in the way that he would not accept something lower than his standards, than his self-esteem, or than his value. And he's also very protective, about his loved ones. And 2 of stones is like every time before he's going to decide something, he thinks very carefully what he's gonna lose, what he's gonna get, in order to make the best decision, to reduce the risk to the minimum. Somehow I'm really thinking he has a strong vibe of Libra. Yeah. But alongside with that, there's also a little bit of his worst personalities, which is the Hierophant and the Wheel. So in some kind of situation where he doesn't know what to decide, and it seems like his logical mind, or he cannot control over the situation, he's really kind of spiritual. This is also a good thing and also a bad thing in some kind of situation, depends on the situation. Sometimes it needs him to be act fast, decide quickly, but he's decided to let the universe to give him some kind of signs, and then he decided. That's what the Hierophant and the Wheel is there. Maybe he's also a little bit spiritual, in front of the kind of big decisions he might choose to listen to other people, or if he's a very religious person, he's gonna go to the church, the temple, pagoda, any kind of religions that he's follow, and ask for the pope or the leader of that religions there, in order, uh, rather than decide on himself. And sometimes he just really let go and just let everything runs in the natural way. But sometimes this may cost him, depends on the situation, this may cost him an opportunity of a lifetime if he doesn't act fast. What type of person would he be if he married with you? So I have here is Queen of Fire and Page of Water. So obviously he's gonna be the person who's take charge more in this marriage, who acts more, take charge more, and more active. But somehow he does not know how to show his love to you, like in the best way. He's the man who is, maybe because of in the past he has so many wounds, that's why he's afraid when he show the love to someone, because he thinks that it will make him become appeared as weak, and the other person can hurt him somehow. That's why he chose to hide, or show the love in a very not so much sophisticated way, a little bit childish also. He's the person who is very easy to, because he's sensitive, he's very easy to get offensive and be sensitive when you accidentally say something, and he might think immediately that you are intentionally want to hurt him. So just beware of that. He's not very emotional stable, but he can do anything for his family, for you, for his children. So that's a plus point right there. uh, if you guys are planning on having kids, what type of father would he become, or what kind of behaviors, actions, attitudes that he will give to your relatives, friends, or family. So I have is Queen of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles. So he's gonna give the materialistic kind of things to his children by providing them the materialistic, just such as taking them to the best school, provide them to have the best house. They would never kind of worried about the materialistic, about technology. Maybe if they need some kind of laptop for their study, he wouldn't mind to give them a new one, the best one even. But he's not that good in providing the emotional connection with his children, and that's one thing to look about, because as I said, maybe because he's also he can become like emotionally distant dad because of his past traits, that he cannot show his love to other people properly. He don't get me wrong, he's very love his children, he's very love you, but his actions make somehow make kind of misunderstood for the other persons. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love anyone, it's just he does not know how to show it. So it might be you are the kind of bridge connection that can help you to that can help him to get emotional connect with his children. And the next thing we will look into your marriage life after you married this guy is healing family issues. I really think that you will help him healing his family issues. I really think that the reason that he's afraid to show his love, he's afraid to getting hurt, is because of his childhood. Maybe he's having a mother or a father who is very emotionally distant, and that's why he subconsciously study that way and become a little bit of the emotionally distant also. But I guarantee that he does not want it. He really does not want it at all. And I have for you illustrate new beginnings in your support. This goddess in your support to give you a proper advice for your marriage life. So let's see what she's gonna advise you. Eostre is the Germanic goddess about the fertile power and new ideas. So life is for learning, and right now your alignment task is to be with which is perfect as it is. Look at the lessons in your life and how they repeating. You will find that when you come to understand them, you know why your current situation happened. Everything has a purpose for new life. Even disappointments can turn into miracles. So it may be that she's advised you to be his kind of sunlight, that you can be his own healer, and just by your sincerity, by your true love, you could open up this man's heart, and he can become the best husband ever that anyone could ever get. So part number 3, that is all for your reading, and I hope you enjoy it. If you want to be a private reading with more in-depth details about this question, you have all the information in the description to contact with me. And also, if you like this video, if the video resonates with you, just give it a like. And in the future, if you would like to hear a lot of other pick a card readings in many kind of titles ever, just don't hesitate to subscribe me. I really thank you for that. But for now, I see you in the next reading. Bye bye. Hello, pile number 4. So for who of you has chosen this beautiful blue stone ring? I call this ring is the teardrop ring. So here's your reading. I have a lot of cards here, and each of the cards represent an element that can build up to your stories about your future husband. So we will have the first impression that you have for him is the Sun and Six of Swords. So I really think that he is a very attractive person, outgoing, maybe always be the center of attention. So I would have guessed he would have a very strong characteristic, or maybe sun sign even in Leo. Because Leo people is always have that kind of natural vibe that can gain the attention very naturally. And Six of Swords is he's always the kind of optimistic person who, when stuck in a kind of stormy kind of situation, he always tries to figure out the way to go for the sunny side. I really think that he is very strong in Leo, or have a sun sign in Leo. And the more you get to know him, you will figure out his best personalities are Queen of Stones, which is Queen of Pentacles, and Ten of Spirals, which is Ten of Wands. So the more you get to know him, you will figure out how that he can be drawn the attention of from everyone like that. Because in the workplace, or in the study place, or in the social activities, he's a very materialistic kind of person and down to earth. He's really sincere also, and just kind of get connected to the people in the basics. Nothing fake, nothing made up, and or nothing acting at all. And that's why people like subconsciously draw to him, because of his caring vibe. And also he's a very responsible person. He's never gonna be a person who abandons the teammates in the middle of a stormy kind of situation. He's not gonna be the laziest one in a group project. Maybe he's also sometimes being a leader, even though other person does not finish his or her task. He would be the one who takes all the responsibilities of the group or team project, and just to make it become the best, to gain the objectives for the whole team. He's the kind of silent or very dedicated boss that you can have, or team leader that you can ever have. And but along with that, of course nobody's perfect, so he also has some kind of worst personality traits, which is Queen of Chalices or Queen of Cups and Knight of Wands. uh, so but also sometimes when the situation get carried so far away, and he feel like is when he feel like he's the weakest, he cannot control over the situation. He's become acting, or his behaviors mostly depends on his emotional, which is not very good. When you're in the middle of a turmoil, you don't want to decide everything based on your emotion. It may come up in a very bad image, and he can very rush in the wrong decisions also. So the consequences may be very is maybe sometimes it's too late to even kind of solve the situations the damage has done, and there's nothing that you can do to reverse it back to where it was. Yeah, that those are his worst personalities, and you can fix that. He can fix that by being slow down, not panicking, and also turn on his logical sense when there is some kind of situation where he feeling stuck, rather than rush into some kind of wrong decisions. What type of husband that he would be after he married you is Three of Air and Ten of Water. So I have to warn you, because he's a very kind of person who has a very attractive personality. There are two scenarios here, but 70% that I would have said is if there is some kind of problem in your marriage, he he has a very high tendency to easily falling in love with someone else, or not falling in love but to cheat it on you, maybe by the short term only or by physically only, but cheating is cheating. So when he's disappointed in the marriage life, or you and him has a lot of conflicts, arguments that can never be solved, and all he wants in his life is this 10 of water or 10 of cups, if he does not feel in the 10 of water state, instead of really try to build the foundation and solve the problems with you, he will find another one to fulfill that. So really be careful on that. This man, somehow I feel like in the workplace maybe he's a very stable person and kind of responsible, but in the marriage or in the family, he really is a little bit selfish, and he really think more of himself. If you cannot make him happy, he will choose another one to make him happy. Maybe you can provide him 7 of water, but there's still 3 water lack, so he will try to find the other 3 water somewhere else. And he has a very easy and high tendency to commit in a cheating relationship, an affair, away from his marriage life. It's like never enough with him. So what kind of father, or if you're not planning have a children, what kind of behavior and attitudes he will treat to your family or your relatives and your friends? So 2 of swords and 3 of wands. It's like he does not want to get involved with them too close, because he really thinks that it's not his responsibility. This sounds like maybe a good co-worker, but not so good husband. And maybe you marry this guy is because he become your favorite co-worker, close co-worker, or your best friend, or your best boss. But after marriage, you will recognize that he's not a good husband or a good father figure at all. It's like he's very emotionally distant to his children. He's always stay outside of his children's life, just to look them afar, and he really don't know how to connect with them physically and even emotionally. He just being the father, and that's it. It's like say something, order them something, and then that's it. So I really advise part number 4 to really look deeply into this situation, whether or not those signs are appeared already in your relationship. Yeah, but I really think this is have some kind of karmic connection, because the past life relationship, this is the card that describes your marriage life. It's like you and him in the previous life has the depth with each other, and this life you have to give back that depth to him. But if this is a toxic, I really think he's toxic. His personality also a little bit narcissistic to me, emotionally distant also. Just you cannot take that anymore, and he crossed your limit every freaking time. Please just don't hesitate to leave the situations. Do what's best for you. You don't need to stay there, you know. And to add into my advice here is Ishtar communion. This goddess has some advice, valuable advice to say to you about the situation. When you refuse to see the signs, it can ultimately take you down a path you really don't want to be on. As I said, don't ignore the toxic signs, don't ignore the bad signs already. Maybe the signs are there for a reason, and the sooner you see it, the sooner you run away, the better for you. When red flags indicate something is not quite right, it's not a sign to jump in with both feet. It says this is not for you, this is not yet, this is to be revealed. So maybe he's a very good boss, very good co-worker, but just think carefully what kind of husband, what kind of marriage life that you want to have. and just to see the signs, talk about, communicate clearly with him about this, well, to see his ideas about the marriage life, and you will see a lot of signs that can be warned you previously. Don't step into a marriage before knowing someone very clearly, especially in the emotional life. So part number 4, I hope that you're doing well, and really just please stay focused in this situation and don't make rash decision about marrying this person, because it really sounds like not good to you. Even though in the workplace or in the school he's very cool with everyone and especially with you, but it does not sound good in a marriage life at all. So if you really want to dig deep inside about this situation, don't hesitate to have a private reading with me and contact me with all the information I put in the description. And if you really like this reading, please give it a like, and please subscribe my channel for more pick a card readings in any kind of questions. But for now, I'll see you in the next reading. Bye bye.